Hi everyone, welcome to the AppsForOps weekly webinar. My name is Sean. I'm going to be spending the next 30 minutes or so with you to take you through the AppsForOps platform. Just a few housekeeping rules to get started. There's normally lots of questions in these sessions, so feel free to actually pop those in the Q&A manager through the GoToWebinar console. I will get through all the questions towards the latter part of the webinar, and should I not get to them during the webinar, I'll actually drop you a personal note and get the answers back to you. Okay, great. So we've got lots to cover off today. Let's get started. So first things first, a bit about AppsForOps and what we actually do. So AppsForOps automates several common business processes for small and medium businesses. And how we do that is we actually automate these through the AppsForOps platform. And our tagline is actually apps to automate your business operations, and we help companies run a better business. What many of our customers love about AppsForOps is that they love that we have one platform with one login and the ability to light up one or more of these apps to solve different problems they may have inside their company. So examples of our applications are things like expense claim or expense pre-approvals, or things like invoices, receipts and bills, scheduling of resource, time off or leave request management for users inside a company, or even logging time sheets or organizing travel for those specific users. And each of these apps are not just normal apps, they're actually powerful workflow-enabled apps that are smart alone or brilliant together. And what that means is some of our customers may just use expense claim with expense pre-approval, or they may just use the time off app. But really what they love is they have the ability to interweave one or more of these apps to solve business problems that they have on a day-to-day basis, and actually allows them to automate their business operations. Here's a really great infographic of the various parts of the AppsForOps platform, and you'll see there's three different pillars. Pillars around running a better team, running a better work, and running better money. And if you actually go through and explore this infographic on the AppsForOps website, you'll be able to go in and see what each of these apps do and how we help our customers run a better business. So I encourage you to head across to appsforops.com and go delve down into each of these different apps and how they can help you run a better business. It's always great to know what people are saying out there about us in the market. We have some very strong technology partners out there. One of those technology partners is actually Microsoft. Microsoft have very recently written a great blog post on us called How AppsForOps is Making Life Easier for SMBs. I encourage you to go and actually check that out and read it. It's a really great article to see how we're assisting SMBs out there in the market. Another one of our key technology partners is Xero. It must be said that we don't actually require Xero to run, so you don't have to be a Xero customer to use AppsForOps, but should you use Xero, we have an excellent integration into the Xero platform. For those of you who are not familiar with Xero, Xero is a small medium business accounting software package, and some of the things that Xero said about us is that we're one of their dream apps, we're integrated amazingly well, and we offer a great user experience. So again, you can go read some more of that on the AppsForOps blog. There's also an independent website out there that's called GetApp. GetApp is a website where people would go to find different software that they can use inside their companies. GetApp has consistently ranked us a category leader for a number of our different apps. So it's always great to see that there's some nice people out there that are talking about AppsForOps and how we help them run a better business. At the end of the day, it's really all about our customers and how we can help our customers. So on the front cover of XU magazine, there was very recently an article about one of our customers called Source Code on how they run a better, beautiful business using AppsForOps. It's a really great article that talks about the viewpoint from different users inside that company. So Rudy, Tony, Igor, Emma, Louis, and Louise, and what apps they love using on a day-to-day basis and how it's helped them. So it's a really great article to go see how people would use AppsForOps on a day-to-day basis. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to look at a few of these different apps. There's obviously a large part of the AppsForOps platform that we may not get to today, but the apps that we're really going to look at today are the items that are highlighted in front of you now. So I'm going to touch on the expense claim, invoice, scheduling, timesheet, and time off app. Again, there may be many questions, so feel free to pop those in the Q&A manager and I will get to them towards the latter part of the presentation. All right, first things first, how do users actually interact and use AppsForOps? So on the top left-hand side there, you'll see a screen grab of AppsForOps Web, and this is our web UI or interface where you can access it through a mobile browser, and you can go and actually action your tasks or track any processes that you may have kicked off. On the right-hand side, you'll see the AppsForOps mobile app. This allows you to access AppsForOps on the go. There's an app for iOS and for Android, and we'll touch on some of that today, and I'll take you through what some of that app looks like and what that experience experience feels like. In the middle of the screen, you'll see there's actually an email. So whenever I need to do something inside AppsForOps, it actually sends me an email, and the system is intelligent enough that I can actually reply directly back to this email with either approve or decline or return to requester, whatever I need to do on that task to be able to action it directly from email. As well as that, we have a heap of other user interfaces that our customers can use. So we have a bot called AppsForOps bot that you can access through Skype or Microsoft Teams or Facebook Messenger, so if you use any of those tools. We have an interface for Microsoft Teams, should you be using Microsoft Teams. And like many of our customers, many people use Outlook. Should you want to be able to get your tasks and track your processes through Outlook, you can do that through the AppsForOps for Outlook app. So there's a variety of different ways you can actually interact and use AppsForOps, and it's all about allowing our customers to access AppsForOps anytime, anywhere in the tools that they are familiar and comfortable with. Okay, enough slides for today. Let's pop over to a real-world demo of what AppsForOps looks like. So I'm just going to exit out of the slides for a moment here, and what you'll see coming up for you very shortly is AppsForOps Web, and this will actually start loading up for you. So first things first, let me just give you a tour of what you're seeing in front of you. First, you can see I'm logged in as a company here called Demo Company. So that's just a company that I have set up, and I can see that I'm currently on the home page, and you'll see down the left-hand side here I have a variety of different things that I can actually do. At any stage in the AppsForOps platform, I can come in here and I can click the walkthrough icon, and what this will do, it will take me through a guided walkthrough of what's actually available on that page. So here you can see there's actually a menu up the top, which I'll get to shortly. By clicking on my home page, I always get back to the home page, which is the page I'm on now. By clicking on my calendar, I go straight to the calendar. Similarly, by clicking on dashboard, I go to the dashboard. If at any stage I need help on what's actually on this current page, I can click on the help icon, and it will take me to a nice interactive graphic where I can go get help on the various parts of the AppsForOps platform. Again, if I wanted to go through the walkthrough here, I just click the walkthrough icon, and then it'll actually take me through different parts of the page that I'm actually on. So here, this is the task list, and this is really my to-do list and things that I need to do inside AppsForOps. We're going to go through and we're going to action a number of tasks as we go through the demo today. The next part that I have here is something called My Processes, and My Processes allow me to go through and track where anything that I've actually kicked off is in the workflow process. As I come down here, there's something called My Glances, and My Glances gives me access to quick pieces of information that may be relevant to me. So this could be how many approved yet unpaid dollars in expense claims that I have, or how much time off I have available, or even when the next public holiday may be. The next part down here is something called Newsfeed, and Newsfeed is a really great tool where I can go through and I can share and collaborate and post different pieces of information that may be relevant to users in my company. So here you can see there might be things like videos, or there might be, if I page down a bit, there's different graphics that I may have posted. I can post comments or documents, I can like and dislike things. It really gives me a nice area where I can actually collaborate with different users in my platform. If I come down to the bottom here, here's actually a poll, and in this case there's a poll going out to some of our internal users to ask people where the Christmas in July function should be held, and I can go through and I can actually go and vote on that. And finally, down the bottom right-hand side here, you'll actually see that there's something called Ask Michelle, and Ask Michelle is real-time help where I can go through and actually ask for help on different parts of the AppsForOps platform. So if I just click done here, if I actually open this up, what I can click on is I can actually open up Ask Michelle, I can say hi, and what Ask Michelle will do is she will tell me different things that she can actually help me with. So this might be things like learning more about the AppsForOps platform, or when you're going through and asking a specific question, or even going through and getting some pricing information on AppsForOps. But she's always available, and she can help you with a variety of different things. Just coming back to the poll here, if I wanted to come through and see what's actually happening in the poll, I can see the answer that I've already given for this, and I can see what the popular choices are so far. And that's really, really great for me to be able to go through and see what's happening with my users, polling them out with a variety of different things. Now, coming back up here to my processes, should I ever want to track and see what's happening in one of my processes, I can come in here and I can click on one of these items, and I can click on Open, and what this will do, it will take me into, in this example, an expense claim process, and here is a nice graphical indicator of currently where I am in this process. Green icons indicated things that have already happened, happened. Blue icons indicate where I currently am, and gray icons indicate parts of the process that haven't been followed just as of yet. I can see this is currently at the first approver stage gate, and I can see that that's going to be with a user called Henny, and I can go through and see any of the details that I may have submitted with that expense claim, as well as any attachments or any of the comments that went back and forth on that expense claim. Because this is an expense claim that I've kicked off, I have the ability to either recall that, which will bring it back to me in a draft status, or cancel that expense claim process altogether. Some really, really nice functionality there. Okay, coming on to another part of the platform that I wanted to show you is something called My Calendar. Now, My Calendar actually graphs out and puts in a calendar format different things that may be happening inside my organization or company. First thing that I have the ability to do is I can actually go and overlay these calendars with my normal Outlook calendar or Google Calendar or any other internet calendar I may use. And down here, I actually have a number of different filters that I can filter and display on this calendar. Here I can see Henny had, one of the users in my company had leave on Friday the 30th. I can see where some of my employees' birthdays are, and currently it's highlighted today. There's not too much happening on the calendar at this stage, but as we go through the demo, we're actually going to write different pieces of information into this specific calendar. But it's really, really a nice way to keep tabs on anything that's happening inside my organization. The next part of the platform is something called My Dashboard, and My Dashboard is the reporting hub of the platform. So here there's different types of dashboards that I actually have access to: my process dashboard, my data export dashboard, and my project dashboard. And what I can do is I can put in some date ranges, and in my process dashboard I can come in here and I can look at my processes, my team's processes, even my company's processes, and as I delve down into each of these, I can go through and get information on different things that are happening inside each of these processes. I always have the ability to export any of this data, and speaking about exporting, there's actually a dedicated dashboard called My Data Export Dashboard, where I have the ability to go export many different pieces of information that may be inside the AppsForOps platform. This ranges from expense claims to employee details to who's been onboarded or offboarded. There's a wide variety of different things that I can actually get access to from this data export dashboard. Finally, just looking at this, there's also something called My Project Dashboard, and My Project Dashboard allows me to go through and delve down and slice and dice the details in each of the projects that I may have running, and I can do that by customer, project, resource, or task. So some really, really nice reporting information there. The other thing that I actually have is something called My Profile, and My Profile gives me the ability to, I guess, self-serve the information that may be relevant to me. So here I can actually fill in my things like my first name and last name and my date of birth and profile pictures and things like that. I may want to go through and actually add my bank account details. So if I come in here, I can actually open up my bank account details. You'll see some of these are grayed out because it's sensitive pieces of information that's highly encrypted from an AppsForOps side. So I can come in here and unlock this information or go back and encrypt it. So it's really, really important information that may be relevant to me. I can do things like emergency contact details or even my address details, my home or work address. I can even come down here and view things like my compensation detail and what my compensation package looks like. All of these nice pieces of information are available through me through my profile. I can come through here and I can see my time off balances, and I can switch between the different time off types that I actually have access to. And finally down here, what I can actually do is I can actually also set up communication preferences. So these are preferences of how I would like to be notified of things that actually happen inside the AppsForOps platform. I can receive daily or weekly digests which summarizes the things that are happening in the platform, or decide that for expense claims when they're approved I want to get a mobile push notification. All of these types of things I can actually go through and configure through my communication preferences. Okay, so let's switch over and we're going to come into a demo today. What we're going to do is, the first thing I'm showing here is something called Customer 360, and this is the customer dashboard where I can go through and see all the customers that are part of my specific demo company. And today we're going to be working with a company called PlayPlay Company. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on PlayPlay Company, and this is going to take me into the customer dashboard for PlayPlay Company. I can review different things like its contact details, logos, physical address details, or postal address details. I can even see different things like contacts that I might have at that specific customer, and I can even go through and see a number of different projects that I may have or work that I may have sold to this specific company. These projects could always be internal projects or external projects. In this scenario, it's an external project, and we've sold Play Company 100 days of consulting services. So if I come in here and actually click on this specific project, what I'll be taken into is the project dashboard for this specific project. So I can see the details around it. I can see how many days were sold and how many days have been delivered. I can see things like what the billing types are, or what the invoicing types are, or even the invoicing terms. And most importantly, up here, I can see how much of the budget is currently remaining and how much of the project has currently been completed. What's really, really nice is I can come down here and I can actually go through and see any timesheets that may have been logged against this specific project. So here I can see that Henny's logged some actual time and what the billable time was we actually billed this specific company, Play Company. And as we go through, we're actually going to go through and log a timesheet for Henny and see how that affects this specific project. For a project, you can actually have one or more tasks that are associated with this project. Here I've just added 3 tasks: general consulting, requirements gathering, and support. And at the same time, I've come through here and I've assigned some resources who can actually perform some work on this specific project. So here I've actually assigned a user called Henny to do some work on this specific project. What's really, really nice is I have the ability to see any expenses that may have been logged against this project that have been approved. And I can see currently there's a total of $1,249 worth of expenses. And what this does is this actually gets deducted from my project budget. And at any time I can come in here and I can actually see what's happening in real time on this specific project. All right, so while we're dealing with projects, we obviously want to be able to schedule different resources on projects. And you'll see up here I can actually get access to the scheduler. So by clicking on scheduler, what this actually does, it takes me into the scheduling app, which is a graphical scheduling tool where I can see different things that are happening on a week-by-week basis. If I actually page back to last week, what I'll be able to do is I can come in here and I can actually expand different users and see different things that are actually happening and what projects they are working on. There's some very nice features here where I can just drag and drop and copy things across. I can expand different of these projects, and I can even come in here and click in here and assign a user for a specific time period on a number of different projects that I may actually have. So it's a really, really nice environment where I can go through and assign different resources to projects on using the scheduler app. I can add in details there. I can see different things like when users are fully booked for that day or only 50% booked, and it really, really gives me a nice way to go through and schedule resources on specific projects. Okay, so that's it for a quick walkthrough of the platform. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly go through and switch back to some slides, and what you'll see in the slides coming up for you is some screen grabs of the AppsForOps mobile app. And what I've done here just makes it easy for me to show you this. What I've done is I've logged in as this user called Henny, which is part of the demo company. He's logged in and he comes into this nice tile-based dashboard where he can do a variety of different things. The first thing that Henny's going to actually do is he's going to click on the expense claim icon, and he's going to come through and be able to submit a specific expense claim. So he's going to get prompted with what type of expense claim he'd like to log, and in this scenario he's going to say that he wants to capture a new expense item and submit a new expense claim with it. He can click on the attach icon where he can attach an image from his phone or take a picture from his mobile device, and what he'll do then is he will come through and fill in the details about this expense. In this scenario, it's a flight, and it's a flight for the project, the Play Company project. So he selected the Play Company consulting project as the project. He's filled in the details of the flight. He said it's Qantas. He's filled in a date and an amount. And here you'll see, because he entered amounts of $325, the expense pre-approval app is actually kicked in, and it's saying to him, please note that this expense amount requires pre-approval as it's above the $50 limit. This expense will be submitted, but please ensure future expenses exceeding this limit are submitted for pre-approval. So it's just a nice way to showcase how some of these apps will come together. The expense claim category, he can select the cost center, and what he'll do is he'll actually click submit, and that'll provide him a reference number where he can go through and actually track that expense claim until it gets refunded to him. The next thing that he's going to do is he's going to go through and he's going to submit a time off request. So time off is all about leave inside the organization. He's going to click or select a type of leave that he would like to submit, fill in the date details, and what he'll do again is he'll get a reference number to allow him to reference that specific leave request. At any stage using the mobile app, he can also come through and he can actually track these processes by clicking on my processes, he comes in and he gets that nice graphical representation of what's happening in the process and where it currently is, so he can track and see exactly what may be happening. Okay, so Henny's gone through and he submitted an expense claim process and a time off process. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm also going to come into Henny's environment and we're going to go through and submit a timesheet. So one of the things I didn't show you to start was this great menu. So using one click, you actually have the ability to come in and see all of the different apps or things that you actually have access to. It's classified into different buckets: better team, better work, better money. And under those buckets, we'll see different, tiles for different things that you can actually do. Henny can actually come through and he can see that he's logged in as himself. By clicking on his profile picture, he'll go through to his My Profile, and he also has the ability to go through and configure which links he would like to set up as quick links inside this menu here. And he can do that by clicking on that clog icon. Because Henny has specific rights in the platform, he gets access to some administration functionality, how he can top up with credits and some billing details, but he also gets told here different things that might require his attention with these nice badges. But in this scenario, what Henny's going to do is he's going to come through and he's going to come into the Timesheet app and he's going to go through and log a timesheet for work that he did on Play Company last week. So the first thing that you'll see it prompts me, it asks me is, do I want to let AppsForOps know about my location? And that's because some of the GPS functionality has kicked in. I can scroll through the different weeks at the top here, or I can even scroll through different days. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and log a new entry. So I'm going to say I want to select the project that I want to log some time against. You'll notice that this list is trimmed down for projects that I am just working on. So for Play Company, I can go log my time against one or more of these different tasks. So I'm going to say it's just general consulting. I'm going to say there was 10 hours. It was performed on site, and maybe I ran into some issues, spent some additional time working on this. So I can just add some comments in there. I can go through and save that across. I obviously could go through and log time for different projects or different tasks, or I could even come in here and I can actually switch it over to the week view, where I can come in here and add different hours for the days that I've actually worked. What I did is I actually submitted a time off request previously for this user for Friday the 7th, so I'm not going to add any time in there. Should that time off request have already been approved, it would have actually prompted me here, but we'll see what that looks like in the approval stage. So here I'm just going to go through and submit this off. It tells me, hey Sean, hey Henny, you haven't actually filled out a timesheet for a full 40-hour week. Are you sure you want to submit this? And I'm just going to say yes, that's all good. And what's going to happen is the process is going to kick off. It's actually going to send this task to the project administrator, and the project administrator in this scenario is my user Sean, who will then be asked to approve Henny's timesheet. Again, Henny gets a reference number there, and he can use that to actually track his timesheet through the approval stage gates. Okay, so I'm going to close down Henny's process here, or Henny's window, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back into Sean's dashboard. I can see I'm in Sean's dashboard right here because there's my profile picture, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go look and see at the different tasks that I have on my dashboard. So here first is an expense claim process, and one that we kicked off earlier through the mobile app. So what Sean's going to do is he's going to come in. He again has this nice graphical representation of the process. He can see that Henny submitted a flight for down to Melbourne for $425. He has the ability to split this out or view the items or export it or delete it or even recode any of these items. What Sean can do as well is he has the ability to approve or decline or return this back to Henny to get some more details, or he even has the ability to redirect this task to someone else should he feel that someone else has better knowledge to approve or decline this. In this case, all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and say that it's approved, and we'll just get redirected back to the home page where I can go see what other tasks I have on my task list. You'll notice because that task has actually been actioned, it has dropped off my task list. And what I also actually got and I received an email notification to let me know that I had a task that I needed to approve. Here you can see it has all the details around the task. I could actually click and open the task straight from the email. And again, should I have wanted to, I could actually have just replied back to this email with either approve, decline, or return to requester, which would have gone through and processed this expense claim for me. Coming back into my dashboard here, I'll quickly go have a look at that time off request, and I can see here that Henny came in and he submitted a time off request for the 7th of July. So I can see what his time off balance was, what his time off balance will be after he gets back in, and I have the ability to see any comments that he's actually added with this time off request. At the same time, I can very quickly and easily head over to my calendar to see if anyone else has time off over that time, or use any of these links inside the time off approval screens to go through and see what any of my other employees may be doing. Again, I have the ability to go through approve, decline, or send this back. In this scenario, I'm just going to say that it's approved, and I'm going to say to Henny, go off and enjoy your time off. Okay. What I'm going to do next is just come back into the task list, and we'll see that there's one more task that I want to go through and actually approve, and that's that timesheet that Henny actually submitted. So again, what I can do is I can actually come through here and I can open up this timesheet for approval, and I will be able to see all of the details that Henny actually logged in his specific timesheet. So the first thing that I can actually see is automatically that time off request, now that it's been approved, has actually prompted and overlaid onto the timesheet. So should Henny have filled in any time for Friday, I know that he was actually off on annual leave on that day. You'll notice there's some nice indicators at the top here as well, and if I hover over them, I can see the comments that come up. So I can see that Henny added a comment that he ran into some issues and spent some additional time. As well as that, there's just this little world globe icon, and this actually shows me the exact address or location where Henny was when he actually logged this timesheet. So it brings in some of the nice GPS capabilities. At the same time, I can see the actual hours that Henny logged, and I have the ability as an approver to tweak these to say how many hours I would actually like to bill the end customer. So here you can see it's automatically defaulted this to 8-hour days for me, but I would have the ability to go through and change that to 10 hours should I want to charge the customer the full 10 hours. I can come through here, I can see the comments, and again, I have the ability to approve, decline, or send this back to Henny for more comments or for tweaks before I go through and approve this. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to say that this is all approved, and I'm going to go and submit that off, and what that will go do is that will go and push that approval through the system and approve that timesheet for me. Now, behind the scenes, what has actually been happening is I've actually configured this demo company to integrate into Xero. So again, you don't need Xero to run AppsForOps, but here's some of the great capabilities and integration options we have with AppsForOps. And behind the scenes here, I've actually automatically published that to Xero, and I've actually automatically published those expense claims into Xero. In my scenario, I've said that I want to publish them in as Xero expense claims. So it just shows you some of the great integration capabilities we have with Xero. At the same time here, let me come back to this project dashboard. I haven't refreshed the screen yet. We'll see that it's 24% complete and there's $74,000 worth of the budget remaining. As I go through and refresh this, you'll see now, because that timesheet's been approved, we can see we've actually completed 28% of the week, of the work rather, and there's been some more of the budget actually used up. I can come in here and I can go and actually see all the timesheets, and here I can see there's Henny's a timesheet that's just been approved, and at the same time I can come here and actually see any of the expenses that have actually come in, and as soon as those gone through and actually been processed, they'll actually come through and show up in this expenses list. So at any time I have a nice overview of exactly what's happening in this specific project. Now finally, to bring this all together, what we may want to do is we want to have the ability to go through and invoice the customer for the work that we've actually delivered. So here I've come into the invoicing app, and here I've come into what can actually be invoiced, and here you can see I have a list of the different things that can be invoiced, and this is picked up by any timesheets that may be approved. So here I can see there my Play Company project is actually is available for some invoicing. So what I can do here is I have the ability to go through and generate all invoices at once, or create a specific invoice. So I'm going to select create a specific invoice. I'm going to come through here and select my Play Company. I can select a number of different options here, but what I'm going to say is I want to automatically create this invoice based on timesheets and expenses. I can select the project that I want to add onto this invoice, and then I have a variety of different options of how I would like this invoice to display, invoice due dates, all of those nice things. If I go through and click Generate Invoice, what this does is it creates a draft invoice for me, which again I can push through the approval process. And if I actually open up this draft invoice, we'll go through and see all of the details that it's actually added into this invoice for me. Here you'll see that it's added in the time that I worked on Play Company and those expenses. So at the click of a button, I can actually go through and bring together all these worlds of timesheets and expenses into one invoice that I can get sent out to the customer and get paid for the work that I've actually done. Again, behind the invoice, you can send that for an approval process before it goes out to the customer, and should you want to, you can actually push that across into Xero should you be using Xero. Okay, so a very quick whirlwind tour of AppsForOps. Just to finish up for today, what I'm going to do is take you through some final slides. The good news is that you can actually go through and you can actually sign up for a free 30-day trial. All you need to do is head over to appsforops.com/sign up, put your details in, and you can start experiencing AppsForOps free of charge for 30 days. Many people ask us about our pricing. We have simple pricing that covers all available apps and features, allowing our customers to easily discover the true power of the AppsForOps platform. Pricing is per user per month, and to get a quote, you simply just use the pricing calculator, and you can head across to appsforops.com/pricing. The next thing is there may be many people who would like to partner with AppsForOps. So we have a really great partner program. What you can do is you can head over to appsforops.com/partner and find out about our partner program and how you can partner with AppsForOps. There's a great app called the AppsForOps 101 app, which allows you to discover all things AppsForOps. It has anything from product tours to video libraries. I really encourage you to go and download that and look at some of the great demos that are available through the AppsForOps 101 app. For anyone who's looking for a quick one-page overview of all things AppsForOps, there's a great one-pager we've put together called All About AppsForOps. It goes from anything from what is for AppsForOps to understanding what what problem each of the apps solve, and hearing from technology vendors, independents, customers, and the like. So a really great resource there. Finally, we've always got some exciting things happening inside the AppsForOps world, so definitely go visit the AppsForOps website at appsforops.com, the AppsForOps blog at appsforops.com/blog, or connect with us on any of the social channels on Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Okay, I see there's lots of questions in the question answer manager, which I'll go through and answer shortly, but I want to thank you for your time today. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email. You can connect with me at Sean@appsforops.com. So that's SHAUN@appsforops.com. But I'm going to leave it there. We're just on the 30-minute mark, so thanks again for joining today. I will go through and answer all the questions on the Q&A manager, but we look forward to helping you run a better business. So let us know how we can help. Many thanks, and we'll chat to you all soon.